up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name is Chris, and with me today, the Wonder Twins.
Hey, guess which one I am?
The one on the right.
Well, he's not wrong, actually.
Yes!
He's actually on the right.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Hey, guys, look, that was our first trivia challenge on Between the Cons.
Actually, that was our second trivia challenge. The first challenge was on episode 11.5, Wild Accusations with the Outlaw Steve Jr.
Wow.
But that is long since passed.
Wow.
I would say so. But still smash that like button. We're giving away a $100 Amazon gift card. No, we're not.
We are not doing that. Please do not say those things.
No.
What are you doing? You guys might be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card for people smashing the like button. Whatever.
We're going to go for 100,000 likes.
Whatever that means. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning into the show and for enjoying the show. Whether or not you smashed the like button on the way here. Everybody that's hit us up on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we appreciate it. We love hanging out with you guys on the interwebs. And then to everybody that's left a review on the iTunes store, on Google Play, on all of the different sites that our show is available on, we appreciate you guys reviewing, saying nice things, etc. Etc. Felt fancy when I said it.
I felt your pinky going
It
up.
was, actually. I wasn't holding the microphone, but my pinky was up next to the microphone, mainly because I was comparing the size of my pinky to the size of my microphone.
Wow. Gosh.
None of that is true. But anyways, we have a fun-filled pineapple episode for you. We're going to be hitting the headlines. We got a lot to talk about this week. It was actually a really slow news weekend, and then something happened today where it was just like, bleh, like here's everything that we've been holding back for 3 days. So
News vomit.
News vomit. Yeah. That's pretty much exactly what happened. But anyways, we're going to jump right in. So let's get straight into pineapple.
We're gonna have a pineapple situation. What should I do?
Pineapple.
The word that cannot be spoken.
Pineapple.
Just want to say pineapple. If
Pineapples are fun. My dad used to
Pineapple.
throw them at me.
Pineapple.
Seriously? Wow.
Well, kids, first in our lineup, Pandora World of Avatar at Disney Animal Kingdom in Orlando opened on May 27th. For those of you that I don't know why.
Just right out of the gate. Just
Exactly.
Do you want to restart that point?
No, I'm not restarting.
So the Wonder Twins before the episode started said that they were gonna try not to say and I know. And both of those things, both of those things just happened. Anyways, proceed.
So, Pandora World of Avatar opened on May 27th. For those of you that are familiar, this is not the last Airbender Avatar, the one that you actually love a lot and really have fond memories of. This is James Cameron's Avatar, the really, really overhyped 3D movie that we all loved when it came out, but quickly forgot soon after. And
we only loved it because it looked nice.
Exactly. It was really the first major 3D movie. So it really had an impact there. And it's still, watching it on TV, I guess, a few days ago, it still looks really spectacular. It's kind of devoid of feeling and really connection to most people, but it still looks great. But Disney decided that they wanted to expand Animal Kingdom, which they really, really needed to. There's not much going on in Animal Kingdom.
I mean, did you like Animal Kingdom, Chris? Did you ever go?
I like Animal Kingdom, but I definitely agree with the statement that it is kind of meh. it's one of the parks that I feel is most spread out, and not in like a good way.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, it closes early. Generally, in the past, it's closed earlier than all the other parks. So you kind of get over there, and then you feel like you kind of have to rush out of the park. It's a little annoying. It's kind of one of those parks. It's a bit of a annoyance.
Like, make certain you make dinner plans the night you go to Animal Kingdom, because you're not eating at Animal Kingdom.
Unless it's the Rainforest Cafe outside of it, maybe. But so we've got this. Disney has worked with James Cameron to put Pandora World of Avatar into Animal Kingdom. So it opened May 27th. Of course, this is based on James Cameron's Avatar, and it's 4 sequels that none of them that haven't even come out yet. So they're really betting the farm on this whole deal here. It has 2 attractions: the Navi River Journey, which is a family-friendly boat ride through a bioluminescent rainforest.
Which actually sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah,
It does sound really cool.
and the video, at least the clips I've seen, the preview stuff looks really amazing.
It's like the Jungle Cruise if the Jungle Cruise wasn't built in the 70s.
Exactly. Like, it looks really fantastic. And then they have Avatar Flight of Passage, the land's premier attraction that allows guests to fly on the back of a banshee. Since you probably haven't watched this movie since it came out, the banshees are the big flying things that the Avatar
Connects their ponytail to.
Yeah, through their USB cable that they use for everything in a really disturbing manner. So
I thought it was Firewire.
Firewire, probably Firewire.
Well, the most concerning part about the USB ponytail is that it is used to connect to your flying banshee, and is also for lovemaking,
which is really odd.
I don't get down with that. That's a weird
No.
combination of things.
James Cameron, I don't know what you've been watching, but I don't even know. That's a subject for another podcast. It's in a different rating genre than ours.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. A less family-friendly podcast.
Exactly. You kids go start your own podcast about that.
Yeah, maybe Chris Hardwick will pick that one up.
Oh yeah, good deal. Absolutely. But getting away from the other weirder biological anatomical aspects of Avatar, and one of the neatest parts about the addition is that it's a bioluminescent flora at night. Essentially, the park, the entire area changes at night. Everything lights up: the plants, the trees, the fauna, the flora, all of that lights up at night. And the Animal Kingdom staying open later, like the other parks, to accommodate this.
Which is
so
super
really
dope.
It is. So it's really given Animal Kingdom more reasons to be open and more money as a result.
And let's be real, the mountain, what's it called? Everest roller coaster?
It's an Everest, yeah.
Yeah, is horrifying at night. So that's perfect.
Exactly. It gives people more reason to stay in the park and buy more food and buy more merchandise.
Exactly.
So, and we've really got to see, will it be wildly successful, or will it end up like the dinosaur section of the park? Everybody's most beloved Disney CGI movie, Dinosaur.
I love the dinosaur section of the park. Thank you very much.
Well, I love the ride. I mean, the ride's kind of cool, but the movie... I've never even really seen the movie, but Disney just bet the farm on so many things, and they did it with the dinosaur stuff.
I got going through the dinosaur, and I'm sorry for this rabbit trail listeners, going through the dinosaur part of the ride itself, I got E.T. vibes, and that's not a good thing. Like when you see Disney ripping off Universal, something terrible has happened.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's weird. It was very strange. So, but I hope, honestly, I think it's going to be very successful, and I think it'll help build up. I think it'll provide enough capital and incentive to build up some of the other parts of the park that have kind of become neglected. If Avatar does really well, I think they'll find ways to kind of, make both Madison happy and Chris happy with the dinosaur section of the park.
Yay.
And then when we all check that out, we'll never go again, and we'll just focus on Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios.
Exactly.
So, exactly. But pineapple.
More Disney parks is what I'm going to talk about.
Disney World.
Well, I'm going to be talking about Disneyland.
Oh,
Disneyland.
Technically, Disney California Adventure.
yeah. I
Ooh.
mean, that really is like your sixth favorite Disney park, right?
Yeah. I've actually never been to any of the California ones.
We
so-
need to make a trip. We need to go.
Yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
But anyways, they recently opened the Mission Breakout ride, which replaced the Tower of Terror, which was crazy because that ride is like eternal, I feel like.
It is.
But Bob,
Guardians of the Galaxy : Mission Breakout.
yes, correct. I apologize. I ruined the name.
It's all
But Bob Chapek, I don't know if that's right. He's a Disney Parks chairman. Said that this is just the beginning of what will become an even bigger superhero presence at Disney California Adventure. And with a strong partnership between Marvel and Walt Disney Imagineering, which means Disney owns Marvel, we're very excited about what is to come. And it's sure to please Marvel fans hungry for more magic at Disney parks, which is super awesome. But I've watched about every video I can of Mission Breakout, and it looks super fun. It plays off of the scene from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie where they break out of the prison on the Skull Planet, or before they go to the Skull Planet, rather. So it's really neat. It looks really cool. But they for the reveal, they had like a bunch of people from Marvel going to the ride, and like, I mean, their Snapchat story on release day was like 70 something videos.
dang.
Which was crazy. Or their Instagram story, rather. I don't Snapchat too much. But the VP and executive editor for Marvel Digital, Ryan Penagos, posted a video of a hatch leading somewhere underground. And the hatch has the Avengers A on it.
Ooh.
And he tweeted it and said, "There's something mighty hidden next to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. What could it mean? Hashtag stay tuned. Hashtag it's all connected. Hashtag hero up." Which is kind of awesome, because that statement, like that tweet in combination with the statement from the Disney Parks chairman, basically saying like, we're excited for what's still to come, makes me think that there's going to be like a lot more Marvel that we're going to see at Disney Parks, which is really exciting. And then within the line for Mission Breakout, because you're like in the collectors, the line goes through like the collector's collection, for lack of better terms. And there are like all sorts of little Easter eggs hidden in there. There's one display case that is filled with Atlantean artifacts, so hinting at Namor the Submariner.
Cool.
And then Stormbreaker is there, which is the name of Beta Ray Bill's hammer. Beta Ray Bill is basically Horse Thor. He's not actually a horse, but he's like a alien that kind of looks like a horse.
So he's like Sarah Jessica Parker as an astronaut. Oh,
Ouch. Jeez. Savage. And then there is the helmet of Deathhead, which is a cosmic bounty hunter. That's actually kind of a really interesting character. He started in a Transformers comic. Not a very serious character, more of like a fun, like character just for fun.
Yeah.
And he's actually met like Doctor Who and like some other like different universe characters, which is really interesting. But there are just a bunch of really sweet Easter eggs.
There's also some quote unquote Kree artifacts that first showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans are, oh, yay, we're relevant.
We're relevant, finally.
That's an interesting thing that they almost halfway tied into the cinematic universe through the ride. So that's a small victory there, I suppose. The one other interesting thing I can think of is, all of this is happening in California, and a lot of you may not realize, but the deal, Universal Orlando already has the rights to Marvel's characters in the Universal Orlando. And essentially, Universal has exclusive rights east of the Mississippi to use Marvel characters. That didn't change after the Disney buyout.
Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting.
Very strange.
It is. So you're going to see tons of Marvel stuff, and you're already seeing tons of Marvel stuff happening in California. But as the universe expands and grows, well, we are starting to see, like in Disney Orlando, there's now a Star-Lord and Baby Groot meet and greet. So that's in Universal Orlando. So it'll be interesting to see as these new movies come out, if they're not tied in, if they've never existed in theme parks before. And they also did the same when Doctor Strange came out. There was actually a Doctor Strange meet and greet in Orlando. So it'll be interesting to see as these new characters are introduced, if they'll actually be able to push out rides in Disney parks and avoid the whole Universal debacle there. So
right.
It'll be interesting.
We'll see. I'm just really excited for more superheroes at theme parks, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm excited that California Adventure might finally have a fighting chance.
Right? Oh, man. So happy for them. So happy.
I really miss Superstar Limo, though. That's just such a great ride. It's great.
Pineapple.
Guys, speaking of Universal, we have new ride alert, potentially new ride alert, and it has something to do with this. Welcome to Mario Kart, which I just made Mario sound like a woman there. I apologize.
Yeah, like a really weird, like Jewish lady.
Yes. Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios, which, as you guys probably know, they're bringing a Nintendo expansion to Universal Orlando called Super Nintendo World, and a recently filed trademark, according to Nintendo Life, Nintendo has recently filed a trademark for Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Japan, Orlando, and Hollywood. And part of that trademark wording features a sentence that relates to management or arrangement of kart racing.
Kart with a K.
Yes.
The most important kind.
Exactly. Management or arrangement of kart racing. Kart with a K. So there's a lot of speculation happening as to, does this mean we will finally get a real-life Mario Kart experience within a park? And any of you guys that have been to Disney World, to Magic Kingdom, and have been on what is it in Tomorrowland? The cars in Tomorrowland? I forget what that attraction's called.
It's a goofy thing, I think.
It is, and it's on rails. It's
Tomorrowland Speedway.
Yeah, Tomorrowland Speedway. And when Mads and I went in 2011 during Not So Scary Halloween, we were dressed as Mario and Luigi, and we were on the carts, and we took pictures of us acting like we were holding shells and bananas while we were on the Tomorrowland Speedway.
Screaming, Mario Kart! Whoa!
I was thinking to myself, this is as close to real-life Mario Kart as a park will ever get, and I was wrong. I'm hoping I was so wrong that I'll finally get to have real bananas and shells at Universal to throw at people.
I wonder if they'll do like a have like a water gun attached to the front of them.
That'd be so cool.
And that would be like the equivalent of, like, almost like the the crappy little carnival game where you've got the spinning target and you have to shoot the water into it.
Yeah.
Something like that. And if you hit the target for long enough, like, it stops the cart for like a few seconds?
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be super fun.
Would be cool. And it would almost be, you've got to wonder, would they even go to like the opposite extreme and make it almost like Toy Story Mania, or the almost like a merger of Toy Story Mania and Men in Black, where like maybe you each have a cart and you're all racing on a virtual track surrounded by screens.
Oh my gosh.
And like you're able to almost VR yourself into the race. Like, you know,
with how popular VR is, it might be a VR experience.
It could be.
Oh, that's why they're launching it in Japan first.
Of course.
Of course, the first Super Nintendo World opening in Japan in 2020.
Such a long way away. But, I mean, you've got to wonder, though, if they did it VR, wouldn't that take away from the cart experience, though? I mean, or are they just deathly afraid of, like,
I don't know, man.
lawsuits?
They could do, like, the 4D where you have, like the like wind, and like maybe you step into this like human-sized box and it's on like a hydraulic system, so when you get hit with a shell, your cart shakes and spins out, or
cool.
something like that. Like, it could be really, oh man, I have so many hopes and dreams. I'm gonna shatter myself if I keep talking.
Well, yeah. And the other thing about the patent, which is or the trademark, which is kind of silly, it also mentions quote unquote hotel accommodation services. So that got us thinking, could this mean a real life Hotel Mario?
As long as it's not Luigi's Mansion.
No.
This would be a true statement. So, road trip anybody when all this stuff opens? I think so.
I'm in.
I'm into pineapple.
So, turns out that Silver Sable and Black Cat are not going to be having their own movies, which may have just been a misunderstanding on my part. But they're going to have a movie together, Silver Sable and Black Cat. And this movie is going to be called Silver and Black. And it's going to be helmed by the same guy that is doing the Cloak and Dagger TV show.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. Like, I've learned to become incredibly cautious, or to be incredibly cautious when it comes to Spider-Man films. We recently found out that Tom Hardy's going to be playing Venom in the Venom standalone movie, which is really exciting. But once again, kind of hesitant, very, very hesitant, honestly. But this one kind of sounds like it's going to be the movie that Spider-Man nerds have been waiting on. This movie's got Spider-Woman, Kraven, Tombstone, Scorpion, Chameleon, Green Goblin, Robot Master, like a ton of classic Spider-Man characters. And then it's rumored. This is all rumored. But there's some details that were released, some rumored details that were released about the movie. So I'm gonna read that right now. 7 years after the Robot Master and his two henchmen, the Scorpion and the Tarantula, killed her father, Silver Sable is hired by the government to find Felicia Hardy. The Black Cat, a master hacker and thief, has apparently stolen valuable secret information, and she is hiding in the lawless and dangerous Triple Frontier area between Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. Once there, Sable asks her old contact, the Chameleon, to locate her, but it seems the governments are not only oh my gosh.
Are not the only ones.
There we go. Not the only ones looking for the Black Cat. It seems Felicia had made a deal with the Robot Master to save her father from a Russian prison, and she's been genetically enhanced. Now the mad scientist wants his prize experiment back because his financer, who is probably Norman Osborn, wants a return on his investment. Interestingly enough, in all of this, there is no mention of Spider-Man or Peter Parker. So that's really strange to me, but really exciting. And it honestly makes a lot of sense because Sony basically passed up on Spider-Man because they failed enough. They gave Spider-Man back to Marvel, so it makes sense that Marvel wouldn't be like, all right, you can have him back.
Yeah, and it's kind of been weird. We may have covered it previously. I'm trying to remember if it's Kathleen Kennedy who's handling part of the Marvel stuff as well, or if she's just doing Lucas. But one of the people that we're talking about with Sony, it may have been
Amy Pascal.
Amy Pascal, thank you.
Ugh.
She was talking about, Spider-Man's upcoming appearance. Actually, Tony Stark's upcoming appearance in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Amy Pascal is a former executive at Sony that got demoted after the Sony hacks, but she's still involved in the filmmaking for whatever reason.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
totally.
And so she mentioned that she was kind of like, this may be the last time we see Marvel characters in a Spider-Man film for a while, or something to that effect to an extent. And so that makes me wonder, are we going to, as you kind of mentioned, Chris, how far of a connection are we going to get? How closely knit is Spider-Man going to continue to be at Sony, or how close are Sony and Disney going to get with one another in the future, especially with the looks of this rumored movie not having anything to do with Spider-Man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad about it. I'm sure they'll hint. I'm sure they'll hint at Spider-Man. They'll say something about him, especially with Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, being a love interest of Spider-Man for a while. And so many, I mean, Norman Osborn being like kind of a second father to Peter Parker, being Harry Osborn's dad, Peter Parker's best friend. So I'm sure we'll get a reference, if not just maybe Norman Osborn says something about his son hanging out with this punk kid from Brooklyn. Who knows? But I'm really excited about it. It really seems like a movie for the fans. It seems that way right now. Like I said, I do not have much faith in Sony, so I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I'm excited about it. I'm interested, for sure.
Yeah.
But, Pineapple.
So, in random animation news, according to IndieWire, Amblin Television and Warner Brothers Animation are kicking around an idea of bringing back Animaniacs.
What?
Yes.
So this is interesting for a number of reasons. For those of you that have kind of maybe lived under a rock for a lot of your childhood,
Or maybe you're just not old enough.
Maybe.
This is true.
Maybe
I
it's
have an employee that was born after after Animaniacs was off the air.
That's true. I mean, Animaniacs ran for 99 episodes from 1993 to 1995.
Yeah.
And then it moved to Kids WB from 95 to 98. And then it also spawned the primetime spinoff Pinky and the Brain, which aired on the WB. So you've got all of that. So yes, you're right. A lot of our listeners, you may be on the younger side.
I mean,
and
that's 19 years old.
It's scary. Like it goes by so fast. but yes, Animaniacs.
So in other words, younger listeners, we be old.
We be
Right.
old.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And nerdy.
Exactly. Yes. But Steven Spielberg was involved in the original. He developed it as a follow-up to Tiny Toon Adventures. Some of you probably remember
Which is really
that.
interesting.
It is very much so. So it's interesting to see that they're really kicking around this idea that Spielberg may actually be involved in this in some way. And there's no home yet for Animaniacs. No networks have picked it up, and it's still in the early stages of development. So you may
Which
not.
is really surprising to me. I feel like somebody would have picked it up like ASAP.
I'm seeing it on Netflix.
Well, because the interest peaked for it after Animaniacs went to Netflix last year, so it really started bringing it back.
I didn't realize that. Okay, that's really cool. Well, it would make sense for it to come back on Netflix in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see it being something on Netflix, but I can honestly see it being another thing on cable. There's such a new fan base for it, and like I mean, we were just talking about it. 19-year-olds that were too young to see Animaniacs when it was on the air, that like are getting like, so that means like people our age are having kids that are old enough, like Stephen O'Leary, for example, a guy we went to college with.
Hi, Steven.
He's got kids now that are old enough to watch Animaniacs.
Yeah,
that's true.
So why not? You know, Steven grew up on Animaniacs. Why not let his kids grow up on Animaniacs?
As long as they don't give it the Teen Titans Go / new Powerpuff Girls / new Ben 10 treatment. As long as they don't take a classic and put it in a trash compactor. Like, as long as they preserve the integrity of the writing and the humor and the essence of it without sacrificing it at the foot of deep cut animation budgets and just kind of cheap caricatures playing into nostalgia. As long as they actually
keep it away from Cartoon Network.
Keep it away from Cartoon Network. Please, if you love this show, don't let it be on Cartoon Network.
Or Nickelodeon.
I can agree with that.
Like, if it's on Cartoon Network, I feel like it would have to be an Adult Swim show.
Yes.
Without the adult aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So.
But we certainly hope that maybe this will mean good things.
Could you imagine, though, like, if it were an Adult Swim show? Like, how cute is Dot now, probably? Is that weird? Is that weird to say?
I mean, it probably go in the same podcast as the Avatar Anatomy discussion.
We'll just hold off on that one. We'll hold on.
Yeah, we'll just hold that. That's a topic thunder down the road, I'm sure. Animated cartoon characters you find attractive.
Yeah,
so.
That's a clickbait episode.
Oh yeah,
check out how hot these cartoon characters are now.
Number 6 shocked me.
You'll never believe what they found out.
Oh, beautiful. Anyway, keep a lookout for Animaniacs. Maybe in the next 2 years we'll see something. Pineapple.
So we talked last week about Joss Whedon coming in and picking up.
Who's that guy?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna choke you both. Anyway, talked about Joss Whedon coming in, picking up Justice League after Zack Snyder and his wife stepped down from the film. Producer Charles Roven this week actually confirmed that Joss was actually working with Zack Snyder before he departed. And they were just meeting together on, one, Zack Snyder was trying to convince him to take over the project, and two, he was kind of like pouring his vision onto him because most of the film is done. There are a handful of reshoots that are left. So Zack was trying to convey to Joss Whedon what exactly he wanted as far as vision goes, so Joss Whedon could come in and pick up and finish it out the way that it was intended, which is really interesting. Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon, two starkly different directors. So I'm really interested to see how the movie turns out. I talked about it last week. Because of how different they are, I'm afraid that there's going to be like moments where it's like, yeah, that was a Joss Whedon scene. Yeah. Okay, that was Zack Snyder for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly a little bit nervous about it because I do want, despite everything that's hanging in front of my face, which includes like a ton of Marvel comics and posters, I do want DC to succeed in the filmscape because I want to watch those movies. But I'm very nervous about it because there are reshoots that need to happen by a director that is just very vastly different from the director of the rest of the film. But that being said, it is really interesting to see Joss Whedon come in to finish out a DC Warner Brothers film, knowing that Joss Whedon is already on board to direct Batgirl.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see. Maybe he's kind of getting some hands-on experience in the WB DCEU before taking on Batgirl. Maybe he's helping out a friend. Maybe he is just an incredible director and Zack Snyder wanted him involved. Who knows? But either way, Justice League is still on track to release November 17th, 2017. So we'll see how that shapes up.
This is an interesting development that a few of you have more than likely kept up with in terms of keeping up with Sega games that are re-releasing on different consoles. And Sonic Mania was one of those that has really been seen as a selling point for the Switch. We finally got an official release date for Sonic Mania, and that release date to all platforms, that's a pretty important term and a rare term these days, all platforms.
Which is also exciting.
That release date for Sonic Mania is August 15th.
Yeah.
And it's being billed as a new Sonic 2D platformer, but also almost like a remix of your traditional Sonic games, which I feel like people have been begging for ever since Sonic 3 came out. Just give me a Sonic game. Okay, thanks. And this may finally satiate the appetites of some of those calls. It's coming out to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and on PC.
Which is an interesting choice.
It is. On August 15th, it's going to feature Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles going through both new and remixed stages. So notice they didn't say old stages, they said remixed stages, because you can't have an old stage. It has to be just messed around with a little bit, obviously. Because nothing old will ever do these days.
That's like damage control, in case it sucks. It's just like, we didn't say it was the same thing. We said it was remixed.
Oh, yeah. Just like your favorite album that you need to get two versions of because you have the original. But if you don't like the original, well, here's the remixed. If you don't like the remixed, well, there's the original. It's damage control, exactly as you said.
Right?
Exactly. In North America, there are going to be two versions of this. $19.99 for the download edition.
But it's a really fantastic price.
Yeah. Especially for a cross-platform, like any cross-platform release. That's super cheap.
It almost is a little scary. You're wondering what am I about to buy?
Replay value is terrible.
I mean, that's almost teetering on higher end of iOS, Android price. And
right.
So you don't want that. You don't want that. But I think that's going to be a really nice price point for buyers. Now, for those with a little bit sharper taste, you have $69.99 for a collector's edition, which features, from what we can tell, a download code, but also a 12-inch classic Sonic statue on a Sega Genesis base.
Oh my gosh.
It
looks pretty dope, as you kids call it.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right this second.
And this Sega Genesis base will have the classic Sega, which sounds nothing like that, soundbite.
Yes, it will.
You'll be able to push the power button, and it says Sega.
That's better.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's really awesome. I mean, it may be worth the $50 markup on the game itself for purchasing the collector's edition.
Oh my gosh, he's totally on a Sega Genesis. That is the coolest thing ever.
It is. I wish it would be a functioning Sega.
That's so dope.
At $70, I mean, it sounds like a pretty awesome collectible.
Oh my gosh, and you get a Sega cartridge.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, and it's got a ring melded into the cartridge.
Oh my gosh, I need it.
Yeah.
Is that available for pre-order? Max?
Yeah, you can pre-order at Amazon GameStop.
Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. That's what I'm looking at.
I think we may be pre-ordering that. We may splurge.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I was really happy to find that out today, and
it
even
comes
though
with a
we're
metallic collector's card. Whatever that means.
oh,
I have no
so
idea.
you really are getting I feel like you're getting a really good value with all those collectibles. If you are a true blue Sonic fan, if you want to pay a little extra for a Sonic Mania deal like that, I think you need to go for it. I think Sonic deserves some love every once in a while.
Oh, that's so cool.
It is.
To do Sonic a favor, go buy his game instead of making really bad deviant art of him. So go buy a Sonic game. He'll appreciate it.
He
So
will.
much shade.
He will. He will. Pineapple.
Speaking of Sega. Sega.
Was that better?
It was okay. It was okay. Somebody was flat. That's all I know. But Sega has just recently, like in the last couple days, released Crazy Taxi for free
Wow.
on Android and iOS smartphones.
Shut your
So
mouth.
this is not like the knockoff phone version of Crazy Taxi. This is the Crazy Taxi. And it's super fun. I was actually playing it leading up to recording this episode. I will say, if you do play it, the driving buttons or the steering buttons are difficult. I haven't played with the tilt to steer option yet, but the buttons are pretty difficult. I ran into a lot of stuff, but it's super fun. It does have a lot of ads though, but I guess that's because it's free, and all the other ads are like for games that are partners. Like Injustice 2 is on there, but it only plays like. It's nice because it's like the pre-roll for a YouTube video where it like plays the 5 seconds and then you can skip it. So you don't have to watch the whole thing. But the full game's only $2.
Wow.
So that's nice. And the best part is that it has the original soundtrack. So
Nice.
if you loved Crazy Taxi as much as I loved Crazy Taxi, you should download it on your phone. Unless you have a Windows phone for some reason and you have not been stricken from the earth. Just kidding. If you have a Windows phone, you're not that bad. Yes, you are.
But I use my Windows 10 tablet as a phone, all 11 inches of it.
Cool. Stop talking. You're the kind of person we can live without.
For shame.
Yeah, you're the first one to go on a deserted island. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Steve Ballmer will fan me with a palm branch.
Yes, he will.
Man. Anyways, Crazy Taxi is on your smartphone now, and you should get it. That's the moral of this story, because it's super fun. So go download it, play it. That's pretty much it. Pineapple.
So I guess in more news related to the Nintendo Switch, these sort of reports come out with Nintendo consoles. Maybe we heard rumblings of it with some of the other, and every once in a while with other manufacturers as well, part shortages relating to certain handhelds or game consoles. According to the Wall Street Journal, there's a concern that there may be shortages of vital parts needed to produce the Nintendo Switch. And this all has to do with the NAND or NAND flash memory chips that store the data, along with the LCDs and the small motors that are utilized for the Joy-Con's HD Rumble feature. You know, if you're familiar with the Switch, the Joy-Cons have special, what they call HD Rumble, where you have these games where you can tell how many balls are in the box or how many ice cubes are in the cup or all those sort of cool things. So there's a concern that there may be part shortages. And a spokesman for Toshiba, which supplies some of these parts for the Switch, has said that the demand for our NAND flash memory has been overwhelmingly greater than supply, and the situation is likely to stay for the rest of the year. And the thought is that the demand is purely not just Nintendo asking for too many, but everybody asking for too many, primarily companies like Apple in particular, and other companies that make smartphones and tablets competing for the same NAND memory chips, the same LCDs that are similar, the same small motors for vibration in their devices. So the idea that all of these major companies are competing for the exact same parts to go in their systems, and it's really weird to think that so many different companies use the exact same parts. It kind of makes you realize how the hardware may be really similar, but it's all based in the software.
Well, do you want to hear something interesting?
Yes.
So I read a similar article on this topic, with a little opinion to it, and some stats. So the Switch is actually on track right now to outsell the Wii U in its first year before the holiday season.
That's wild.
Yeah. So first year to first year, comparing the Wii U and the Switch, the Switch is on track to outsell the Wii U before the holiday season.
I think that's the mark of success. I think we could say the Switch is doing really, really well for itself.
Yeah. So that, on top of the iPhone, iPhone 8, the anniversary iPhone coming out this late summer, early fall time frame when they usually release the new iPhone, there's a lot of stock issue. Because, I mean, obviously Apple is trying to get enough stock to make sure that they have enough to match demand, where Nintendo Switch, like, Nintendo is just trying to keep up with the demand that they already have. Yeah. Because, like, even still, it's very difficult to walk into a Best Buy or a Toys R Us or a Walmart or a Target or anywhere and just walk out with a Switch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they just perpetually stay out of stock.
Yeah. So from what I was reading, it's those two statistics, or those, not statistics, but that one statistic and that one rumor, I guess, about Apple trying to make sure they have enough stock for their upcoming release. I think those two combined are what's causing those shortages.
I'd say you're onto something, Governor.
That was a terrible accent.
Yeah, pretty bad.
That was just about like Michael Jackson Return to Neverland or whatever that movie was. The Michael Jackson impersonator with the British accent.
Oh yeah. I'm not even gonna attempt that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. That's for a different podcast.
Does that go with the same? Does that go with the Avatar and Animaniac?
It sure does.
Yeah,
it does. It does. Subscribe to our second channel.
Smash that like button.
Below
likes.
the cons.
Below the cons, yes. Below your standards. Below the cons. Anyway, parts, Switch, Apple, blah, 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 pineapple.
It's a fantastic summary. So kind of in the same note of what we've been talking about, video games, but a little on a sad note, the PlayStation 3 has officially ended production. Wow. 10 years after launch. So PlayStation 3 launched.
Who can say where the road goes?
Yeah.
You're sending it away.
I was sending it away. Burning effigy.
Anyways, the PlayStation 3 launched 10 years ago. The most interesting part about it is the PlayStation 2 ended production only 4 years ago. They were still making the PlayStation 2 up until the PS4 came out, which the PS4 also came out 4 years ago. So it kind of makes me think, does that mean that we have a new console on the horizon?
Maybe.
I think so. That's a possibility. You don't think they're just ending production or to ramp up production for the Slim, do you?
Or the Pro.
I mean, Pro, rather.
I don't think so, because it's the same system. It's just it's better hardware. So it leads me to believe that we might be coming into our 5th gen for console gaming.
That would make sense.
So it's
Because they're
interesting.
going to have to do something to keep up with, even though they would never say they're directly competing with Nintendo. At this point, they've got to do something to kind of compete with Nintendo, and this may be one of those things to remain. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might be, but I thought it was very interesting timing, because it's one of the shortest timelines for a console game of 10 years. I mean, the PlayStation, the PS1, I don't really count that because times were a-changing so quickly back then. With gaming consoles, the technology was growing so fast that consoles were being replaced every few years, 5-ish years, 10 years. And to see this 10 years after launch, production has ended, where the PS2 came out like when I was a pup still.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't even think I was in junior high. And it only ended production 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the PS3 shaves a few years off of that.
Yep.
When we still have the PS4 out.
Yep.
It's interesting. It's interesting timing. That's all I'm trying to say.
It is. I agree with you on it.
So
I think it is really interesting. And honestly, I think the first person I remember having a PS3 was actually Jacob Smith at UM.
You remember that guy?
You remember him?
I do. We lived together.
Yes, you did. I remember him having one. And I remember across the hall, Jordan Johnson having one as well. And so I remember both of them having one. And that's my first memories of the PS3.
Good times.
Bad memories of waking up to the sounds of Halo across the hall, only to knock on a door and have someone feign sleepiness. It's like, what? I don't hear anything. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I wish they would turn you down too.
Oh my gosh. So convincing.
No, false. But anyways, really interesting timing for the end of the PS3's life. Pineapple.
So we've got something really strange happening in the world of processors today. And we've never really seen this happening before. I still didn't hear what you said. But
I said
I'm sure
neighborhood. You said there's something strange. And I said in the neighborhood.
Oh, I got you. I got you, bro. I got you.
Who are you going to call?
Intel! This, and I cannot believe that Intel would do something like this, but I can. According to TechCrunch, Intel revealed its new Intel Core i9 processors at its Computex event in Taipei this past week. Now, the Intel i9 series of processors are going to have 18 cores.
This is the top tier of it. The top tier processor.
The top tier will have 18 cores and 36 threads and will retail at almost $2,000. And the reason why I say I'm shocked that Intel would do this, and I don't know if it's intentional, it probably was intentional, I'm not sure, but just last month, AMD announced their new high-end processor, the Ryzen Threadripper, and it had a max of 16 cores and 32 threads.
Somebody's closer.
So, just to think about that Intel a month later is like, oh, well, by the way, we added 2 more cores and 4 more threads to this thing. And they kind of undercut AMD on it. So, now, the other series of i9 processors in this family are more realistically priced. They range for around $1,000 for 10 cores, up to around $1,700 for 16 cores.
It's still insane.
It is. And they also have 12 and 14 cores available in between the $1,000 to $1,700 price range. All of the i9s, this is insane as well. All of the i9s have a base clock speed of 3.3 gigahertz. And
Jeez.
That's the base. And they go up to 4.3 gigahertz dual core frequency with, and I have no idea what most of these terms mean, even though I work on computers. 4.3 gigahertz dual core frequency with Turbo Boost 2.0 and 4.5 gigahertz with Turbo Boost Max.
Turbo Boost, I believe, is Intel's proprietary software for, I think,
almost like
overclocking.
an overclocking. Yeah. Almost an overclocking. So anyway, it get done fast. And it go fast.
It makes zoom zoom.
It makes zoom zoom.
Yes.
It does. Other chips in the lineup they have an improved quad-core i5 and an i7 with either 4, 6, or 8 cores, which are more of your gaming rig, your modest gaming rig ones for $250 to around $600, but they haven't announced any shipping dates yet. So that i9 was kind of a shocker to me, and they kind of, as the Japanese say, it kind of upended the tea table on AMD. So they definitely had a shock in for us. So we'll see when that ships, and I guarantee you, Charles Gunter, if he listens to this podcast, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can afford that for my gaming rig. I'll get it. I'll consider it at least." So that's what it is in Pineapple.
The last point of the day, of course, is a video game. I've talked so much about video games today. I'm so proud of myself.
We have.
But this one's barely a video game. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So they had a release trailer, the first release trailer for the new Lego Marvel Superheroes, and it looks awesome. I love the Lego games. They are so cheesy, but they are so fun. God. But the whole story is going to be about like time. The trailer basically starts out with Rocket Raccoon telling Groot, like, this is what happens when you mess with the space-time continuum. Kang the Conqueror is the main villain, and he's a time-traveling super genius villain, crazy guy. So obviously, it's going to all be about time. There are some really awesome characters just from looking at the trailer. World War Hulk is going to be one of the characters. Or not World War Hulk, Planet Hulk. Excuse me. Planet Hulk.
Get it right or pay the price.
The one from Thor Ragnarok where he's got like the battle helmet and all that kind of stuff. Spider-Gwen is also in it. Handful of other cool characters. Ego the Living Planet is in it. And he's actually a planet. Like he looks like the character from the Marvel comics, not the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Kurt Russell edition. So it looks really, really fun. I really hate how much, as a grown man, I love the Lego video games, but I do
They're
so
really
much.
Cool.
But it is slated to release November 17th. So Marvel is trying to, instead of you being at the movies watching Justice League, they want you to play Lego video games.
Exactly.
Right. It could, depending on how the movie goes, could be a better use of your time.
Exactly.
We'll see what the critics have to say.
Yeah, we'll see how it shapes up. But I'm really excited about it. I think those games are super fun. I probably will not own it, but I likely will Redbox it. just to give it like a good day's worth of play and then never pick it up again. But yeah, I think those are fun. You guys should just go check out the trailer. It looks super entertaining. But that is that. So Pineapple. And that is everything for the show. We are done here. So you guys know the drill. If you want to sponsor the show, check out Patreon, Satchel, or Amazon. Go to betweenthecons.com/any of those words to get to those sites. And then, of course, our website, betweenthecons.com, where you can stream our episodes online, link out to our social media pages, hang out with us, do what you want to do. If you like our theme music, check out Affixa on Bandcamp. You can go to betweenthecons.com/bandcamp to get to his music. And then make sure you guys tune in on Monday, because it's going to be real interesting, and interesting in a good way, hopefully. We're going to be talking about Wonder Woman. We've got a roundtable this weekend, and we're going to be releasing that on Monday, letting you guys know our thoughts on the newest DC movie. Hopefully it's not an absolute travesty.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope there's hope for it, which
Same.
I feel like there will be.
I do too, and I was my wife actually said this the other day, that she hopes it's not just feminist propaganda. So I feel like I can say that on the internet. But it does have an insanely high score on Rotten Tomatoes, clocking at a 97 at the time of recording. So
Wow.
I mean, it's doing really well with the critics. So hopefully it'll stay that way. We'll actually have a DC movie that has a decent score on Between the Cons. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Hey, can we do a quick shout out? We wanted to shout out to our cousins in Enterprise/Auburn, Trent and Ryan Wood. Trent just got married weekend before last, and Ryan came up to us unsolicited at the wedding reception, said, "Hey, I listened to your Between the Cons episode with Bridget Nelson," and we thanked him for being our only family member to listen to Between the Cons.
Yeah, supportive families.
I know, other than our mama. But thank you. Good to talk to you, Trent and Ryan. Shout out.
Shout out. But yeah, like I was saying, Monday, tune in. We're going to be talking about Wonder Woman, reviewing it. Hopefully everybody's going to be here except Dane. Already know he's not going to be here. But
he's going to join us on the Daredevil 2003 roundtable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It'll be that one will be a great time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But yeah, you guys tune in on Monday. Have a great weekend. Go see Wonder Woman so you can hang out with us, share your thoughts, and we will talk to you then.
Bye. Is it as good as you remember?